The story opens with a band of heroes, full of self-assurance, making a direct assault on the Demon King's fortress, fully intending to vanquish him. Convinced they had uncovered every one of his power, they watched as the colossal gates of the castle swung open. Waiting, a horde of monsters lay in wait. Nevertheless, the heroes pressed onward, albeit only for a limited distance. Their progress was halted midway by a formidable, high-ranking demon who declared that the heroes would advance no further unless they could overcome him. McKenna, the group's sorceress, initiated the assault. She unleashed her most potent magic, yet the incantation proved utterly ineffective. Following her, the swordsman stepped forward. He lunged with his blade, but the demon evaded the attack effortlessly. Then the Bruno sent him hurtling back towards his comrades, despite his setback. The hero showed no signs of surrender. Cecilia, the group's healer, employed her magic to bolster her allies' capabilities. Subsequently, Yuga charged forward, brandishing the fabled sword, Excalibur. In retaliation, the demon invoked an endless darkness spell, effortlessly vanquishing the entire party. All were life brutally battered on the ground. As he surveyed the defeated heroes, the demon made ready to unleash another spell upon them. However, upon closer inspection of Cecilia, he found himself utterly captivated by her allure, realizing she was precisely his ideal. Regrettably, his amorous musings were cut short by his subordinates, who inquired if they should eliminate the heroes. On Miniam, observing the demon as intense gaze upon the priestess, began to test him, questioning if her fondness for such a peculiar woman, or smitten demon, was even labeled a pervert. The demon, offended, retorted that his thoughts were entirely proper, yet then commanded that the heroes simply be escorted out of the castle, given the proximity of a human settlement. While the heroes were being led away, he subtly whispered a farewell to his beloved priestess, referring to her as his destined love. A month passed, and the Demon King questioned our demon, Yuki, about his failure to eliminate the heroes. Yuki responded that such feeble beings were not worth his time or energy. Nevertheless, the Demon King issued a stern warning. If Yuki did not dispatch them, the assignment would be transferred to one of his underlings. Yuki understood he could not permit this, as his devoted followers would likely be vanquished by the heroes. With limited alternatives, he affirmed that they would undoubtedly slay the hero party on their next encounter. Upon exiting the Demon King's chambers, Yuki pondered his predicament. He could no longer afford to spare the heroes, yet he harbored the desire to entirely fight. In reality, Yuki possessed immense power, and the heroes were far from weak. Indeed, they were formidable, and capable enough to vanquish the Demon King himself. Even so, the recognition that their next confrontation demanded a definitive resolution. He simply hadn't devised a method yet. True to form, the heroes, seemingly incapable of learning, once again made their way back to the castle for another desperate bid to overthrow the Demon King. Havok and Yuga advanced in unison against Yuki, but their assaults remained utterly futile. Both were flung violently against the one. Cecilia implored McKenna to divert his attention, allowing her to focus on tending to the injured party. McKenna swiftly engaged Yuki, but once more, she failed to inflict any harm whatsoever. Yuki found himself impressed with the girl he admired as she healed her comrades, and witnessing her unwavering resolve, he couldn't help but chuckle softly. Soon after, he reverted to his usual demeanor, asserting that he would never be able to vanquish him. Yuga then requested Cecilia's aid and renewed strength, advancing once more against Yuki. However, the demon didn't even deign to react, coldly declaring that he would never succeed in defeating him. Despite this, he presented an unusual proposition. He offered to let them proceed and challenge the Demon King, but only if the priestess agreed to remain by his side. Yuga instantly rejected the offer. McKenna, however, proposed that accepting might be the more prudent course of action. Reasoning that if Yuki genuinely intended to kill Trem, he would have done so long ago. Nevertheless, Yuga persisted in his refusal. It was then that Cecilia interjected, urging them to continue their quest without her, asserting that the world as salvation had greater importance than her individual life. The hero, though reluctant, pressed onward. Trey vowed to Cecilia that they would return to rescue her. Once Yuki was finally alone with Han, Cecilia proclaimed that, even if she lacked the power to defeat him, she would resist until her last breath. She then unleashed her sacred laser beam at Yuki. Yuki requested a moment as pause and formally introduced himself. A bewildered Cecilia encountered why a demon would bother with introduction, given her certainty that he intended to end her life. Yuki, with utmost composure, responded that if such were his intention, he would have acted upon it long ago. It was then that Yuki finally mustered the courage to confess his love for her at first sight. He gazed directly at Cecilia and, without preamble, asked her on identity. Cecilia was utterly dumbfounded, unable to process what she had just heard, and ultimately offered an apology, stating that she should not accept his proposition. Immediately afterward, she began to suspect that this entire situation was merely a deceptive tactic to divert her attention, prompting her to prepare for an attack. Yet, upon realizing that Yuki continued to offer absolutely no resistance, she paused and demanded to know what on earth he was doing. Yuki responded that, having been rejected, he no longer had a purpose in life. He uttered this with profound seriousness, explaining that even if he were to continue existing, his only option would be to remain confined within the Demon King's castle. His sole permission to depart was for the purpose of assaulting human settlement, an activity he genuinely detested. Cecilia retorted, asserting he as deceitful, as all demons are inherently malicious, and the Demon King's goal is humanity as annihilation. Yuki silently absorbs her words before disclosing his true identity, despite his demonic appearance. He explained, that he is solely born from a different realm. Inwardly, he is human. As soon as Cecilia questions his allegiance to the Demon King, given his immense power, Yuki clarifies that vanquishing the Demon King would likely result in him becoming the next ruler of demons. This prospect, which he detests, led him to seclude himself for days, contemplating his life as futility. Third, a beacon of hope, her churn, brightened his world, even if it had only been a month. During that time, he felt genuinely alive, even as a demon, but now it seemed irrelevant. Luckily for Yuki, his heartfelt confession proved effective. Cecilia sighed and stated that if his heart is truly human, he ought to wield his ability for humanity as benefit and reside in the world alongside her. Thus, Yuki secures a fulfilling life. With the passage of time, the heroes are shown receiving profound gratitude from the king for their victory over the Demon King. In honor of their triumph, the monarchs instituted a 3-day national celebration. Unfortunately, such holidays are absent in all reality. Throughout the streets, heroes are lauded, while elsewhere in the realm, Yuki readies himself for a fresh start, removing his horn and assuming a fully human guise. Meanwhile, Yuga remarks that Cecilia was instrumental in making all this happen. McKenna, conversely, observes silently, visibly troubled. No human, Yuki projects to the adventurers' duel for registration. The receptionist, seemingly disinclined to assist him, outlines the straightforward guild registration process. HLL begin at the lowest tier, with the potential to ascend to the highest, so you must take a month minimum to advance. Prior to issuing his guild ID, the receptionist stresses that replacing the document is a significant inconvenience. He advises Yuki not to misplace it, particularly now, as many staff members are absent due to the festival. Upon completing the registration, The receptionist introduces himself as Clayman, and with his characteristic indolence and unenthusiastic customer service, he wishes the new adventurer good fortune. Yuki promptly begins work, and by those, he discovers his extra hours yielded a substantial income, despite it being his inaugural day. Nevertheless, he requires considerably more funds, as his current aspiration is a stable existence, enabling him to reconfess to Cecilia later. This time, he is determined to make his affection a reality. Sometime later, back at the Guild, Yuki approaches Clayman for new assignments, but Clayman declines to assist, suggesting a beautiful young woman nearby could help him instead. Yet, Yuki persists in seeking Clayman as service. Other adventurers discuss a rapidly ascending rogue, compelling Clayman to inquire about Yuki's true identity. Given his swift ascent, Yuki responded, "This is merely an ordinary youth." As Clayman lacks the strength for a confrontation, he opts not to press the issue, reasoning that any future problems won't be his responsibility. Just then, Cecilia enters the Adventurers Guild and requests Clayman to cancel all of Yuki's missions. Clayman instantly identifies her, addressing her as Miss, but Cecilia urges discretion. She then turns to Yuki, imploring him to accompany her home, as they have crucial matters to discuss. Later, upon reaching the estate, a guard confronts Yuki, demanding to know why a filthy smelling boy is in Cecilia's splendid, proper carriage. The other guard attempts to calm him, asserting the boy smells perfectly fine. Before the situation escalates, Cecilia intercedes, declaring Yuki her friend. Hearing this tender word, "friend," from Cecilia's lovely lips, Yuki is utterly captivated. Later, Cecilia explains to Yuki she has wished to see him earlier, but various circumstances arose. Yuki reassures her there is no need for concern, as he has been thriving as an adventurer. Still, they confess surprise at her ability to locate him. Cecilia then discloses that he has, in fact, gained considerable renown in the city. She has already heard whispers of a novice adventurer rapidly ascending the ranks. Despite her joy at their reunion, she presents a challenging request. She asks him to try being an adventurer. Perplexed, Yuki is confused, and Cecilia clarifies that while the hero vanquished the Demon King, it doesn't signify a world devoid of dangers. Yuki quickly grasps that the Demon King as the mess did eradicate all demons and monsters. However, Cecilia states the current issue is distinct. Human nation. She explains, could at any moment initiate a struggle for dominance, with early indications already emerging. A real world parallel, like a certain leader invading a South American nation, comes to mind, but that's beside the point. A global conflict, she warns, is imminent. She mentions the hero has received numerous marriage proposals from other realms, as their rulers leverage status, wealth, and matrimony to amass military strength and sway. Essentially, they aim to transform the hero into a strategic asset for warfare. In UK's situation, he is a novice adventurer, while advanced ranks exceptionally fast, and at this rate, he will soon achieve as rank. Should a kingdom enlist him and uncover his genuine demonic heritage, he would become the sole focus of attention. Such a discovery could lead to his exploitation as a tool for global conquest, or in the dearest scenario, his transformation into the subsequent Demon King. This outcome would signify the conclusion of his current existence. Yuki comprehends her warning, yet he remains clear that his living expenses require payment. Cecilia clarifies that despite her desire to employ and adequately compensate him, regrettably, she lacks the necessary funds to retain an S-rank adventurer. Nevertheless, she pledges to exert every effort within her capabilities. For the realm's tranquility, she implores him to agree. Yuki resists and requests that she refrain from bowing to him. Furthermore, he unequivocally states his disinclination to entertain offers from rival kingdoms. Even if a captivating woman were to make such a request, his reasoning is straightforward. Currently, Cecilia is the only woman who captures his attention. Cecilia lets out a smile, embarrassed Auge, admitting her concerns were unfounded, especially since he has no intention of departing from this kingdom. She informs he that he is free to continue his life as an adventurer. At that precise moment, they are interrupted by Celia, Cecilia's mother. Yuki courteously introduces himself to the woman who made one day by his mother-in-law, and Celia offers an apology for the girl's conduct. Yuki responds that there is no cause for concern. Nevertheless, Celia instructs the head maid to undertake the proper instruction of that disrespectful guard. Yuki assumes the maid will not resort to anything severe, perhaps merely withholding his meals. However, he suddenly overhears Sofia inquiring about the number of bones she should fracture, leading him to the realization that the guard as fat is sealed. Observing the peculiar tension, Cecilia questions whether the guard's transgression is the underlying reason for their current discussion. Celia apologizes and requests Sophie to grant them a moment of privacy, with only the Gyros and Yuki present. Celia discloses to Yuki that her daughter has been the recipient of numerous marriage proposals, among them one from the hero himself. Yuki panics, growing agitated, and questions why that occurs. Renowned hero couldn't have sought another woman, but Cecilia reassures him, clarifying that she declined every single proposal, including the hero's. Celia clearly perceives that Yuki also harbors affections for her daughter, and after taking a seat beside him, she directly inquires if he would be willing to marry Cecilia. Anticipating a straightforward affirmative or negative response, Yuki apologizes and clarifies that he previously confessed his feelings and was subsequently rejected, which is why, for the time being, his objective is to diligently pursue his career as an adventurer, establish a secure life, and only then will he confess to Cecilia once more. Cecilia questions if he is deliberately eschewing the simpler route. Yuki then seeks her forgiveness if he caused offense, but asserts his desire to proceed on hard mode, as he believes that completing games on edge difficulty is characteristic only of the way. Moments later, Celia smiles and declares his approval, remarking that she would not readily entrust her daughter to just anyone. He is now formally welcomed into their home. Subsequently, Cecilia observes that her mother appears to have developed an interest in him, and inquiring if this causes him any discomfort. Yuki responds negatively, reasoning that she will soon become his mother-in-law. With a touch of embarrassment, he makes a final request. If Cecilia permits, he would prefer to address her solely by her given name. Cecilia pauses for a moment to process his request but then responds that it presents no issue whatsoever, and since he will address her in that manner, she will likewise begin referring to him by his first name, a revelation that ultimately delights Yuki. Following this, on a different day, we observe Yuki effortlessly evading her PS assault, subsequently vanquishing her with a straightforward magical spell. After gathering her features, he prepares to complete the mission. Clayman had previously stated that the assignment would require a full week to accomplish, yet Yuki resolved it all within a single day en route. However, he is unexpectedly ambushed by individuals from his previous party. Upon identifying them, he swiftly chooses his companion against attacking them and discloses his true identity. Yuki expresses his relief at finding them alive. Nevertheless, his former comrades demand an explanation, given his no entirely human appearance. They inquire about the whereabouts of his horn and wings. They also conveyed her profound concern for him as he had disappeared following the demise of the Demon King. Yuki then divulges the truth. He confessed his affection to the priestess of the hero's party and, regrettably, was turned down. Consequently, he is now living as a human adventurer. His former companions are utterly bewildered, and Yuki tells them they are free to leave as they choose. However, none of them agree to pursue divergent paths, quite the opposite. They declare their intention to accompany him. Furthermore, they express a desire to become better acquainted with that human priestess. Given Yuki's apparent strong affection for her, Yuki responds that this will not be feasible, but they counter, asserting that if he was able to alter his appearance, then they are equally capable of doing so, and therefore, he has no cause for concern. Despite his reservations, Yuki eventually agrees. Sometime afterward, we witness Cecilia reprimanding Yuki, demanding to know what kind of scoundrel he is for plucking every feather from a harpy, who, despite her demonic nature, remains a female. Yuki apologizes, explaining that he did so to enable her to masquerade as a human. Shortly thereafter, as they share some cups of tea, Cecilia remarks that they do not resemble monsters. The Dola, Duke, promptly asserts that they are, in fact, monsters. He identifies himself as a dollar, and Cecilia is already aware that Rupi is a harpy. In addition to her, they have another associate. But unexpectedly, Yuki reprimands him, stating he was being overly talkative, a behavior entirely uncharacteristic for a dollar. Duke asserts that Yuki himself is to blame, proceeding to elaborate on the reasons behind his claim. It turns out that back at the Demon King's castle, Yuki was infamous for being a frail recluse who never ventured out of his dwelling. Even when his superior commanded assaults against humanity, Yuki dismissed the idea, deeming it unworthy to leave his accursed chamber. Upon learning this, Duke found such an attitude utterly unacceptable for a high-ranking demon. He attempted to forcibly correct Yuki, but the outcome was simple. Yuki decisively defeated him in a brutal manner. This encounter made Duke realize his true standing in demonic society, explaining his current predicament. Though his account is never fully grasped by others. Nevertheless, the crucial point is that everyone, including Seki and Rupi, now holds Yuki in even higher regard. It is precisely at this moment that they become aware of Rupi and Seki's disappearance. Concerned, we swiftly set out to find them before the two demons can cause any mischief. The first one they discover is Seki, playfully slumbering on Cecilia's mother's lap. Cecilia's mother asks if they are acquainted with the young boy. They confirm that Seki is a friend of Yuki's and apologizes if the boy caused any trouble, but Cecilia's mother calmly replies, expressing her affection for children. She explained that he was running in the garden, and she decided to join him. But he eventually grew tired and fell asleep right there. Cecilia then inquires if a girl was not accompanying him. Her mother responded that Sofia had taken the girl inside the house, which immediately causes everyone to become worried. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, Sofia is observed instructing Rupi on proper etiquette. Sofia introduces the new maid, who is scheduled to commence her duties that day. Yuki questions Rupi's peculiar attire. Cecilia clarifies the situation and apologizes, having mistaken Rupi for the incoming maid. Yuki demands that Rupi change it on she, but she adamantly refuses. She declares her newfound desire to work as a maid, and after a significant exchange of meaningful glances, Sofia ultimately accepts her as a new assistant. Sofia even escorts him to the service quarters. Later, as dusk settles, Rupi decides to remain and continue her work at the mansion. The boys bid her farewell, wishing her great success in her new role. At that moment, Cecilia's mother approaches Yuki. She whispers that her daughter, in addition to her priestly duties, must also entertain important guests, which has left her utterly exhausted. Consequently, Cecilia plans to take the following day off. Her mother expresses hope that Yuki will invite her on it. The next day, Yuki appears completely prepared. He is utterly thrilled, as this outing has received official approval from his future mother-in-law. A carriage arrives at his residence, but it turns out The girl comes to pick him up, rather than the other way around. Cecilia apologizes for making him wait, and Yuki is completely captivated by her delicate appearance. He compliments her glasses, which Cecilia explains are an essential part of her disguise. Focused on his objective, Yuki promises to make it the most memorable day of her life, and together they proceed to stroll through the market. The two enjoy themselves, petting chatters, admiring flowers, and even sampling sweet tea, until their pleasant outing is abruptly interrupted by the hero Yuga. Yuga nearly shoots Cecilia's name in public, but fortunately, Mikan intervenes, preventing him from compromising their entire disguise. Yuga approaches and suggests they all together, while Yuki grows increasingly irritated, feeling completely invisible in the situation. Cecilia explains that she is accompanied by a friend, Yuga, not teaching Yuki, asks if they have met before. Both become flustered and deity. Yuga then simply disregards Yuki, remarking that if that is the case, everyone should go together, and the hero immediately departs, pulling Cecilia alone. Yuki becomes furious. Mikan observes the situation and advises him to try and jet along with the priestess. She knows perfectly well that they were on a date, and hopes that if Yuki can forge a closer bond with Cecilia, Yuga may finally abandon his pursuit of her. However, Mikan then turns around and states that she doesn't expect much from such an ordinary boy, directly insulting poor Yuki. Despite this, Lord Demon has no intention of losing to that accursed Yuga. He reconnects with Cecilia, who apologizes for having left him behind. Yuki reassures her not to worry, and seizing the opportunity in a jewelry shop, he decides to purchase a gift for her. However, perceiving that things are progressing far too smoothly between the two, Yuga interferes once more. He positions himself between them and begins searching for gifts for both girls, having realized that Yuki was about to present a small gift to Cecilia. Yuki does not accept this silently. He picks up a necklace and comments on how stunning it would look on Cecilia. But Yuga, a man utterly devoid of taste, appears with an extremely expensive, gigantic accessory, the priciest in the store, which wouldn't even fit around Cecilia's neck. He offers to place an accessory on her, and as he removes Cecilia's hat, her disguise is compromised. Bupper instantly recognizes her, as well as the other heroes, thus sparking a massive commotion. A crowd gathers, and the heroes are escorted away. Yuki is then expelled from the premises. Worried, he rushes out to search for her. On his way, Yuki encounters Haven, who is also surrounded by a huge group of admirers. Haven appears extremely uncomfortable and anxious, prompting Yuki to offer assistance. A shot about the hero's location causes the girls to scatter, and Yuki quickly pulls Haven into a hidden alleyway. Despite being rescued, Haven stays quiet, and Yuki musses that Haven didn't even offer a word of thanks. Yuki observes Haven rummaging through his pocket, then says goodbye, suggesting that for future encounters, Haven should consider wearing a disguise. Just then, Haven calls out to him in a remarkably childlike tone, prompting Yuki to ask if that is truly his natural voice. Haven confirms it is, then inquires, why Yuki isn't lounging. Yuki responds that everyone possesses something personal they prefer to keep hidden, and for Yuki, that would be his demonic nature. Haven remarks that Yuki is quite an uncommon individual, as anyone else would have ridiculed him. Yuki then asks if Haven enjoys being made fun of, to which Haven, clearly embarrassed, replies that he does not. As Yuki prepares to leave, Haven calls out again, asking if Yuki would consider being his friend. Yuki is utterly taken aback, and Haven quickly clarifies that his request is the unusual, explaining that only his mother and own friend Dante mock his voice, and Heidi understand if Yuki preferred not to be friends. Without a moment's hesitation, Yuki extends his hand, declaring they can be friends for a long time. However, visibly moved, shakes his hand, expressing his hope that their bond will last. Shortly thereafter, Yuki Recala managed to find Cecilia, beats forever, and rushes off Manuel in a different part of the city. Cecilia is also searching for him, pondering if he may have already gone back home en route. She encounters a weeping child with a scraped knee. Cecilia approaches, uses her magic to heal him, and realizes the boy is separated from his parents. Searching for his mother, just then, Yuki appears, displaying his peculiar former demon demeanor, and proclaiming he will locate the child as mother no matter what. Cecilia immediately reprimands him, demanding to know what he thinks he is doing. Yuki offers an apology, and the child begins to giggle at the scene, remarking that Yuki is even slower than his father, leading to an exchange of smiles between the two. They spend a significant portion of the afternoon searching for the boy's mother, eventually discovering her engaged in Rukushi. Yuki suggests that it might be best for Cecilia to head home, reasoning that if they attract attention once more, it could escalate into a problem. However, Cecilia looks at him and asserts that if such a situation arises, they can resolve it together, which causes Yuki to blush profusely. Manuel, in another location, Mechanations Yuga, that it is high time they return, as Cecilia has likely already departed. Yuga, clearly annoyed, retorts that they genuinely cares deeply for Cecilia. Betul as she can talk, clearly shares also surfer. Levin Mechanabehin, who remains utterly exasperated and consumed by jealousy. Sometime later, Yuga eventually locates Cecilia. However, upon turning to inform Mechana of his occurred, he discovers he is no longer present. The following day, Cecilia's mother informs Yuki that her daughter collapsed due to an overwhelming workload, compounded by the chaotic events of the previous day. She is now confined to bed with a cold. To exacerbate the situation, the hero became aware of her condition and attempted to force his way into the mansion, asserting his desire to care for her. Fortunately, Sofia proved to be stronger than the renowned hero and managed to expel him without significant trouble. With no other recourse, Yuga eventually departed. Yuki ponders Sofia's true identity before she became a mermaid. At that moment, his prospective mother-in-law reassures him, stating that Cecilia is already feeling much better and asking if he would like to visit her, without a moment's hesitation. Yuki agrees. The maid, Sofia, then escorts him to Cecilia's room. Before he steps inside, Cecilia requests a moment to get dressed, as she was unpleasant. Afterward, upon seeing him, Cecilia apologizes for the unusual circumstances of their meeting. However, Yuki ends up apologizing, claiming that her current state is due to his actions. Cecilia responds that it is not his fault. But Yuki persisted, asserting that if he hadn't brought her to so many locations, she might not have thought a call. She smiled, considers his words for a moment, and then replies that if that is truly the case, then everything was indeed his fault. Her day off was utterly spoiled, and as compensation, I will have to take her out again on her next free day. Hearing this, Yuki feels a surge of joy, recognizing it as practically a promise for another date. He begins to celebrate, completely excited and shooting with happiness, which causes Cecilia to burst into laughter. However, she looks so heartily that she ends up in a coughing fit, which instantly provokes the maid. Sofia, who storms into the room and begins to strangle Yuki, she promptly drags him and forcibly ejects him from the house, all while politely thanking him for his visit. Outside, Yuki musses that Sofia definitely possesses monstrous strength, and once again questions her true identity. Soon after, he encounters Haven, who inquires about his presence there. Yuki explains that Cecilia summoned him, which is why he came to the mansion. He then asks Haven what he's doing in the area, and noticing Haven is apparent genius, Yuki reassures you that it is fine if he prefers not to share. Nevertheless, Haven eventually confesses that he has feelings for a girl, but his voice completely undermines his confidence. He mentions that instead of mocking him, the girl told him his voice was beautiful. Yuki responds that she sounds like an incredible person, and perfectly understands why Haven is fond of her. Haven then asks for advice, admitting he does not trust himself. Yuki recognizes that Haven is behaving like a typical insecure teenager but reminds him that, in reality, Haven is handsome and strong. As a member of the heroic ensemble that rescued humanity, and given that the girl admired his singing, he truly has no cause for concern whatsoever. Yuki urges his friend to reveal his feelings, and Haven expresses gratitude, explaining that Yuki's encouragement provided the crucial self-assurance. Haven subsequently announces his plan to convert. However, observing him proceed directly to Cecilia's residence, Yuki is seized by panic as a dreadful realization dawns on him. Troll Cecilia, but the very girl Haven has been fond of from the start. He had sensed an issue previously, and now his suspicions are almost confirmed. With that, the second installment of this anime concludes. Therefore, feel free to leave a comment, give a thumbs up, enable notifications by clicking the bell icon, and trust the algorithm to present the third episode of this animated series.